All right, this is the Q Afternoon Show. The Q presents Colin James at the Royal Theatre tonight. The opener is Liam Titcomb. Doors at 6:30, and the show not quite sold out. Maybe it is now since we've been saying it. Tickets at the Royal Theatre box office. When we were playing Voodoo Thing just after 3 o'clock, Colin was almost wincing. He called himself the chipmunk listening to one of his first hits.
Oh, I can't get away with anything with you, can I?
It's been 25 years since you released your first album. Do you remember the pressure or the overwhelming feeling of like, man, I'm going to be making my first album? What was that like?
It was crazy. I mean, I got signed to the American label, so that was huge. And then it was the Virgin Records. There was only two other people on Virgin at the time. It was Steve Winwood, I think, and Iggy. Well, maybe it was Iggy Pop and Keith Richards. Whatever it was brand new. And I got signed right up to that. And it was a little tiny office in Beverly Hills. Like, it was literally a little room. It was so small a label at the time. And they put me up with Tom Dowd, who, of course, had worked with, the Allman Brothers and, Ray Charles. And he was part of the Manhattan Project. He was a scientist, basically, as well, from New York. And that didn't work out very well. We went to Miami, and we were at Criteria Studios, and we were there for 2 months on South Beach. And really got one song with him. We've clashed. He wanted me to play like the Eurythmics. Like, he wanted me to play no blues because he felt like he'd already heard all the blues. And
the guy who produced Derek and the Dominoes wants you to play like the Eurythmics.
His opinion was it's all been done before, and I should be playing modern pop music a la the Eurythmics. In fact, he drove me to a record store and said, "This is what you should be doing." And he gave me a Eurythmics record to listen to. So it was a struggle with Tom. And we had some great stories, some great Eric Clapton stories, and some great stories about all kinds of things. Because he worked Mac the Knife, for Christ's sake. He did. He is the producer on that. The original Mac the Knife by, when it was, who did it? Bobby
Darin?
Bobby Darin. Yeah. So, I mean, story is forever, but the clock was ticking and the money was getting spent and we got nowhere. So I ended up having to fly with everything to Los Angeles, work with Danny Korchmar. There's 7 producers on that first record. There's Danny Korchmar, Bob Rock, Tom Dowd, and Niels Dorfman.
You wonder why guys pack it in after an album or two of that kind of experience.
Well, it was the wrong matchup. It was a terrible matchup, me and Tom. So that was unfortunate. But what are you going to do? That's the way it went. I had a good time in Miami.
25 years later, it's Colin James, and your music's still all over the Q. 15 is your new album. We'll hear some of it tonight at the Royal Theatre. Play another song here on the Q, Colin.
Sure. We're going to just do this is off the new one as well, but it's not my song.
I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control, yeah. I didn't mean to hurt you, and I'm sorry that I made you cry. I never meant to hurt you. I guess I'm just a jealous guy. I was feeling insecure. You might not want me anymore. I was shivering inside. I was shivering inside. Yes, I didn't mean to hurt you. No, I didn't. And I'm sorry that, well, I made you cry. Oh, you know I never meant to hurt you. I guess I'm just a jealous guy. Shivering inside, I was shivering inside. Hey, I didn't mean to hurt you, and I'm sorry that I made you cry. You know I never meant to hurt you. I guess I'm just a jealous guy. Well, I'm just a jealous guy. I'm just a jealous guy, yeah.
Beautiful.
That sounds like canned laughter. I would swear those aren't real people.
Laughter? Colin James here on the Q Afternoon Show with John Lennon's Jealous Guy, and that's on his album 15 tonight. Colin James at the Royal. Do you have like a musical bucket list? Because you always come up with great inspired covers. So, I mean, doing Lennon's Jealous Guy, Oh Well from Fleetwood Mac on this album, sneaking Sally Through the Alley. Is it a bucket list, or is it just what you're listening to?
It's just a never-ending bucket list because there's just so much great stuff. And, you know, I think last night I wrote a song down. Gotta do that. It was today, wasn't it? No, it's just always, you know, and I write them down. You know, I keep a list, you know.
Are there songs that you hear that you really like and you go, I could just do a better version of that? Not coming from the heart, but more from like, this is just a song I want to... Really?
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know if you ever think of it in that way. It's usually something that just gets in your skin, and you start going, "Oh man, that's a great song," you know. And you just keep a little list. And Watching the River Flow by Dylan, you know, a couple records ago, that was something I always loved. And yeah, you just collect them as you go.
It's a homecoming tonight. Every time Colin plays in Victoria, you've got friends and family backstage, don't you? Waiting to get a piece of you before you go on to the next town, right?
It'll be great. It'll be great to see. I think my mom's coming down tonight, I think.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for coming, Chris, from the band. Thanks a lot, Colin. Thanks to the videographer, Scott James. He's got part of your name. And our friend Brian here, Brian Capistrano. And
the Swans of Capistrano. Sorry. I'm sorry. What is that?
Line to your next song.
The Swallows of Capistrano. There's something. I don't know what I'm getting at.
We're going to play Oh Well from Colin James's new album 15. This is another song that you went, I got to do it. So let's do it.
Cool.
This is the Island's Hurrah.